Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving deep into the literal foundation of your life, your physical health. We're going to take all that complex cellular science and break it down into a super practical, step-by-step guide that you can actually use every single day. So let's just jump right in. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to feel more energetic, physically strong, and basically disease-free? I mean, who doesn't, right? Well, the secret to pulling this off isn't some crazy mystery. It all comes down to how you manage your physical baseline. Because let's be real, without good physical health, even just getting through your normal day-to-day tasks can feel like a total uphill battle. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover what physical activity actually is, why your movement matters, the crucial link between sleep and immunity, the real cost of inactivity, some global guidelines for better health, and finally, how to build a rock-solid healthy routine. All right, section 1. What is physical activity? Let's get our terms straight. There's actually a really common misconception about what it means to be active. Physical activity is a huge umbrella term. It's literally any voluntary motion that burns energy. We're talking incidental stuff, cleaning your kitchen, carrying groceries, walking to the mailbox. Exercise, on the other hand, is just a specific, structured subcategory of that. It's the planned, repetitive motion you do specifically to improve your fitness. Two very different things. So think of everything you do as falling on a continuum of energy expenditure. At the very bottom, sedentary behavior, just sitting or lying down. Move up a notch and you've got light activity like shuffling around the house. Then comes moderate activity like a brisk walk or light jog. And right at the very top is vigorous activity, your fast running and sprinting. Now here's the kicker. Your ultimate goal isn't necessarily to sprint every single day. It's simply to consciously shift your baseline out of that bottom sedentary row and into the ones above it. Moving right along to section 2, why your movement matters. Okay, so movement is basically a chemical catalyst for your body. The second your heart rate goes up, a massive rush of blood and oxygen gets delivered straight to your brain. This instantly sharpens your focus and your working memory. But that's not all. Movement also triggers this amazing cocktail of neurotransmitters. We're talking endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. It acts as a completely natural mood elevator while actively pushing down cortisol, which is your main stress hormone. And this is exactly why anyone who wants peak cognitive performance absolutely has to prioritize moving their body. As the research points out, incorporating physical activity into your daily routine is not just good for your body, it is essential for your brain. You literally cannot separate mental clarity from physical action. Which brings us to section 3, sleep, immunity, and health. Now, we absolutely can't talk about physical health without looking at how your body repairs itself, right? Your immune system uses white blood cells to sniff out foreign invaders, and when they spot a threat, they release these proteins called cytokines. Think of cytokines as your body's biological alarm system. They're ringing the bell, telling the rest of your cells, hey, gear up, we've got a fight on our hands. And sleep? Sleep is the critical period where this alarm system gets fortified. Because you're lying still and your breathing slows down, your body can redirect massive amounts of energy straight to your immune system to pump out those inflammatory cytokines. At the same time, melatonin steps in to make sure this inflammation doesn't actually stress your body out. This nighttime training is so crucial that studies show getting a good night's sleep literally improves how well a vaccine takes hold in your body. How wild is that? This also explains why your body completely changes your sleep architecture when you're sick. If you catch a virus, your immune system essentially forces you into a much deeper stage 3 sleep. Why? Because in that deep stage, your metabolism completely tanks, which frees up the massive surge of energy your body needs to crank up a fever and literally burn out the infection. But here is where things get dangerous. If you aren't getting enough sleep, you're leaving your body in a persistent state of danger. See, in a healthy cycle, that nighttime inflammation does its job and then naturally fades away before your alarm goes off. But if you're sleep deprived, that self-regulating system completely fails. You end up with chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation. And that is exactly what paves the way for serious issues down the line, like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. All right, let's look at section 4, the cost of inactivity. Guys, it is a staggering, sobering reality that 2 million deaths every single year are directly attributed to physical inactivity worldwide. A sedentary lifestyle isn't just lazy, it is rapidly becoming one of the leading causes of death and disability on the entire planet. And just look at the sheer scale of this problem. Right now, between 60 to 85% of people globally lead a sedentary lifestyle. Even if we chart this at a highly conservative 75%, that means only a tiny, tiny fraction of the global population is actually moving enough to protect their baseline health. And the craziest parts? This lifestyle is 100% preventable, yet the consequences are severe. Inactivity increases all causes of mortality, period. It actively doubles your risk of developing heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. It elevates your risk for colon cancer and osteoporosis. It's even strongly linked to higher rates of clinical depression and anxiety.
So, how do we fix this? Section 5, Guidelines for Better Health.
Knowing these risks, let's look at the actual baseline targets established by global health experts. For kids and teens, the target is 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity every day. For adults up to 64, you're aiming for 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, ideally broken down into chunks of at least 10 minutes. And if you're 65 or older, it's that exact same baseline, but you want to add in balance-enhancing activities about 3 days a week to help prevent falls.
But listen, you don't have to become a literal athlete to hit these numbers. Integrating incidental movement into your day is highly effective. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, jumping into a workplace movement program, or just swapping your car ride for active transport, like walking or cycling to work, these little changes yield massive population-level benefits over time.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 6, Building a Healthy Routine. When it comes to your health, consistency is everything. And that starts the literal second you wake up. Try this sequence. First, use a melodic alarm instead of a blaring buzzer. Studies show it significantly reduces morning grogginess. Second, get some natural sunlight immediately to wind up your internal clock. Third, splash your face with cold water to wake up your senses. Fourth, eat a nutritious, protein-packed breakfast to kickstart your metabolism. And fifth, take just 15 minutes to stretch and move your body. And to really build a robust foundation for your health, you want to blend that physical movement with mental mindfulness. So, after your stretch, tackle a simple chore immediately. Make your bed, wipe the counter, just to build some psychological momentum. Then meditate or journal for 10 to 15 minutes to clear your mind and lower those stress hormones. Write out a prioritized to-do list so you don't feel overwhelmed. Make sure you set aside a little time to do something you purely enjoy. And finally, connect with a loved one, maybe a quick phone call or a morning walk together. The big takeaway here is that your physical health isn't something you build in a single grueling day at the gym. It's the compounding result of thousands of small daily choices. You can't stop tomorrow morning from coming, but you have total, absolute control over what you do the moment that alarm goes off. So knowing what you know now about your brain, your immune system, and your longevity, how are you going to choose to wake up tomorrow?